While an international trade agreement is making waves in Washington, a bird flu epidemic is proving devastating to the poultry industry nationwide. A virulent strain of the bird flu is causing major egg shortages and could end up costing Americans $8 billion more this year for breakfast. And it's so bad that egg-producing companies may be forced to start making egg substitutes. Veronica Nigh is the international trade and environmental issue economist for the American Farm Bureau Federation. She joins us now from Washington, D.C. Good afternoon, Veronica.
Hi, thanks for having me on your program.
Let's start with what the bird flu is. How do the birds get it, and how serious is it?
Well, unfortunately, the U.S. is currently experiencing the worst outbreak of highly pathogenic avian influenza in our history. So far, the outbreak has led to the disposal of more than 37 million birds. 6 million of those have been turkeys. The remainder have been predominantly egg-laying hens. This has been primarily focused on the egg-laying hen side in Iowa and Minnesota. In Iowa, the total losses represent about 45% of the entire egg-laying hen population in that state.
That's an astounding number, 45%. So we're already starting to see the economic effects here, aren't we? We're starting to see some egg shortage. We're starting to see some prices go up. But I first want to start on the industry side. What does this mean for farmers and industry?
Well, that's a good point. Nationally, we've lost about 10% of our egg-laying hens, on the retail egg market side, consumers haven't yet experienced big impacts on prices. That's mainly because of marketing delays. But on the farmer side, we're already seeing significant increases in prices. Just earlier this week, the average price farmers receive for a dozen eggs in the Wisconsin-Minnesota area jumped to 135 cents per dozen. Last month, they only received 84 cents per dozen. So almost a 50-cent increase is really significant in that market.
How is the industry not prepared for this? And is the industry doing right now enough to stop it from spreading?
Avian influenza on the onset is a very difficult disease to contend with. This disease came to us through natural migration of wild birds, making their spring migration from south to north. It's very highly concentrated and can spread easily. Once those birds migrated, predominantly the disease has spread from commercial operation to commercial operation, maybe because they didn't have as stringent of protocols in place as they have in the past. But now that we've really seen the impact of this disease, farmers are certainly making strides to improve their biosecurity so that we can limit the additional spread of this disease.
And we should say it's much more than just the poultry industry and the egg-producing industry that is affected here, right? It kind of goes through an entire distribution and supply chain.
Absolutely. The entire value chain ends up being impacted, from those folks who are supplying feed to the processing companies who are processing those eggs, the trucking companies who are moving their products, to the retail food industry who are using those egg products. Additionally, even though there haven't been any outbreaks in broiler facilities, which are the meat birds, we have seen some international trade impacts as countries are trying to limit their exposure to avian influenza. They've shut down the U.S. market. So any spread of this disease into the broiler industry could have really significant impacts on our international trade.
Okay, Veronica Nigh, international trade and environmental issue economist for the American Farm Bureau Federation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You too.